I have a question for you. Under what circumstances do you think Russia will fire a nuclear weapon? Ever since the war in Ukraine began, time and again, we have come back to that question. In the last 2 years, Russia has held military exercises using nuclear-capable missiles. It has also tested a new strategic cruise missile that is capable of carrying nuclear warheads. I'm talking about Burevestnik. But the question remains, under what circumstances will Russia really end up firing a nuclear weapon? Financial Times claims to have found the answers. It claims to have managed to take a look at some leaked Russian files that are currently with Western intelligence agencies. And what do these files say? Well, they talk about the potential triggers or the potential situations under which Vladimir Putin will press the nuclear button. And here are some of the criteria. 1. An enemy incursion on Russian land. 2. Enemy landing on Russian territory. Number 3. The defeat of Russian units responsible for security of the border areas. Number 4. Destruction of 20% of Russian strategic ballistic missile submarines. Number 5. Destruction of 30% of Russia's nuclear-powered attack submarine. Number 6. The destruction of 3 or more cruisers. Number 7, the destruction of 3 Russian airfields. And number 8, the simultaneous hit on main and reserve coastal command centers. These are some, and I repeat, just some of the situations under which Russia reportedly plans to fire a nuclear weapon. The files reportedly summarize the threshold as a combination of factors where the losses suffered by Russian forces would, quote-unquote, irrevocably lead to their failure to stop enemy aggression. This situation, the files claim, is critical for the security of Russia. Let's just look at Russia's nuclear arsenal. As per the estimates, Russia possesses over 5,800 nuclear warheads, 5,889 to be precise. In fact, Russia has the world's biggest stockpile of nuclear warheads. Over 1,600 warheads are deployed on bombers and missiles. Some 2,800 plus warheads are in reserve, and at least 1,400 warheads have been retired. But experts say these warheads also are probably still intact. Who can give the order to launch these weapons? Putin and Putin alone. It is only the Russian president who has the authority to launch a first nuclear strike. In fact, the so-called nuclear briefcase is with Putin at all times, and experts believe that Russia's defense minister and the chief of the general staff also have similar briefcases. Which one of these briefcases has the nuclear button? Actually, these briefcases help the Russian president communicate with his military top brass and the rocket force. And as per reports, the suitcases have multiple buttons. There is a section called Command. There are 2 buttons in this section, a white launch button and a cancel button. Just a quick reminder, this information is reported by Russia's Zvezda TV channel. It claims that there is a special flash card that activates the briefcase, and once activated, the president can use the briefcase to send a launch order to the General Staff Command and Reserve Command units that hold the nuclear codes. And the order is then passed down different channels, and it is the rocket force units that fire the nuclear weapon. Now, coming back to the threshold, the Financial Times claims that a total 29 secret files have been leaked. These files were drawn up between 2008 and 2014. A lot has changed between then and now. In 2014, Russia invaded Ukraine. In 2022, it started a war with Ukraine. And it's been 2 years now. Surely, many of the estimates made between 2008 and 2014 do not apply now. In fact, last year, Putin said that there are 2 thresholds under Russia's nuclear doctrine. Number 1, an enemy nuclear strike. Number 2, if the very existence of Russia as a state comes under threat. Does not matter if it is the result of the use of a nuclear or non-nuclear weapon. Our next story is about Xi Jinping's paranoia. It knows no bounds, it seems. China, or shall I say spy state China, has expanded the scope of its state secrets law. Yes, the state secrets law. And this, by the way, is happening for the first time since 2010. What was the trigger? And what will the expanded law really cover? In 2 words, work secrets. You got that right. In fact, China's top legislative body passed the revised law on guarding state secrets on Tuesday. And when does it come into effect? The 1st of May. And what exactly would this expanded law mean for the people on the ground? Basically, the move reeks of Xi Jinping's paranoia, his sharpening focus as far as national security is concerned, to the extent that he would clearly go to any lengths. And by the way, this focus on national security has already resulted in updates to the anti-espionage law last April. There has been rising concern over what all this means for the business community. The thing is, this tightening of grip by the state makes it tricky for companies. Why is that? Because it might hamper their ability to get information that would be required for decision making. You know, in relation to their China operations, for example. So what does this expanded law entail? What exactly would the inclusion of work secrets come down to? Basically, government agencies and work units would be required to protect pieces of information that are not state secrets, but will cause certain adverse effects if leaked. But at the same time, it's been said that the rules on the specific management of work secrets would be released separately. No date has been given. The purpose could also be to guard information related to the organizational structure of state institutions. Also, the Ministry of State Security has increasingly taken to its official WeChat social media account since last year, aiming to warn the public to stay vigilant against foreign espionage efforts. We've been telling you about this. In fact, the European Chamber head described the work secrets provision as vague and at odds with the Chinese government's stated aim of prioritizing the stabilization of foreign investment this year. He has said that if China intends to shore up foreign investor confidence, then the laws implementing regulations need to clearly define and limit the scope of this term. And by the way, you know what all constitutes state secrets in China currently? Well, a lot. And that is an understatement. As of now, state secrets involve areas ranging from government and Communist Party decision-making to military and diplomatic activities, also economic development, science and technology. Like I said, a lot. So essentially, what the update to the law means is that the state secrets law, which was already quite broad, will be broadened up further. What is this the result of, if not the president's broadening paranoia? Spy state China is at it again, doing what it does best. Will Michelle Obama run for the 2024 U.S. election? Could she replace President Joe Biden as the Democratic nominee? Well, the word has been going around for a while now. Western media reports have been buzzing with speculation. Democrats themselves have been plotting a shuffle. Have a look at this survey report. It was published on Monday. It says almost half of the Democrats, 47% to be precise, want to replace Biden with another candidate for the polls. A good 47%. Should Biden be worried? Well, it seems like it. Democratic leaders are publicly rallying behind Biden. Behind the scenes, they are still mulling who could be the best replacement. They need someone who could win a standoff against former President Donald Trump, after all. According to former White House and Pentagon official Douglas McKinnon, if not Vice President Kamala Harris, Democrats could look to a past superstar, and Michelle Obama stands a good chance. Among other options, Obama received 20% support from the Democrats. She beat other candidates, including Vice President Kamala Harris and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Could the former First Lady snatch Biden's ticket? Even the Republicans have floated a similar theory, in fact. Vivek Ramaswamy has doubled down that Democrats will swap out President Biden with Michelle Obama. Trump advisor Roger Stone has predicted the same. In fact, this is what he posted on the platform X. Let me read it out for you. I continue to predict, as I have for well over 2 years, that Michelle Obama will be the Democrat Party nominee for president in 2024. And by the way, to back up his claims, he posted a snippet from a podcast interview. In this clip, Michelle said, and I'm quoting, "I am terrified about what could possibly happen because our leaders matter. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit. It affects us in ways that I think sometimes people take for granted." You see, Michelle said that she is terrified. Yes, that's the word she used. Terrified of who would be the next president. It goes without saying that she was alluding to Donald Trump. But was it just a casual remark, or was it strategically driven? Why was Michelle on this podcast to begin with? What was her agenda? She didn't have any book to promote, neither any other event or cause. She mostly spoke about her relationships and married life. But she also squeezed in these political remarks. Why? If we are to go by what political analysts are saying, it wasn't a casual comment made in passing. It was very much deliberate. Was Michelle testing the waters? Was it a message to Democratic leaders? A New York Post report goes so far as to claim that Michelle met several big hedge CEOs in New York. It was the summer of 2022, and the former First Lady reportedly said, "I am running and I am asking for your support," quote unquote. Now, let's just assume for a minute that Michelle does plan to throw her hat in the ring. What then? Could she survive a standoff with the former President Donald Trump? Consider what happened with the Clintons. In the year 2016, less than 2 weeks before Election Day, Hillary Clinton held a clear lead in the polls. State polls showed Clinton was ahead in the key battlegrounds. Even the data team doing the analytics for the Trump campaign reported that they had just a 15% chance of winning. But then we all know what happened next. Clinton's personal email server scandal boiled over. Her announcement to campaign in Arizona did not help her cause either. After all, Arizona had only voted for a Democrat for president once since 1948. And that was only for her husband, Bill Clinton. Hillary lost to Trump regardless, despite her lead, despite her popularity. Could Obama suffer the same fate at the hands of Donald Trump if Michelle decides to contest? It does seem to be Donald Trump's year.